What is going on, Crypto Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central. My name is Fareed. The attacks on some of the biggest exchanges continue within the blockchain and crypto space. Just yesterday, I released a video and there were some articles released surrounding the SEC charging Kraken for operating an unregistered securities broker, dealing as well as an exchange. And just earlier today, we saw CZ, the founder and I believe the CEO of Binance, officially stepping down as the DOJ is officially charging him, and he's also agreed to plead guilty to violating certain anti-money laundering laws that apply to the United States. So as a part of today's video, I want to break down the entire article and then jump into what this could potentially mean for the broader crypto space and exactly how the market is currently reacting. So quite a bit of dramatic news over the last couple of days. Again, I fired things off yesterday with the review of the SEC's lawsuit against Kraken. That is going to be their second lawsuit coming against Kraken. The first one they were able to get a settlement from, I believe, was for $30 million. And they're now basically following up again to potentially see if they can squeeze even more out of them. So an unfortunate situation for Kraken, which is the third largest exchange to date right now, only down to the likes of Binance, who is number one in terms of size and volume. And then number two, Coinbase, who is now going to, I potentially believe, become the market frontrunner when it comes to most adopted exchanges or exchanges with the most trading volume. So focusing on this particular piece of news here, this just broke earlier. Binance's CZ to plead guilty to violating anti-money laundering requirements. And again, these are allegations that were basically brought to him from the DOJ or the Department of Justice. So Changpeng Zhao reportedly plans to plead guilty, and he already has, to violating U.S. anti-money laundering requirements. And he's also going to be stepping down as the CEO of Binance, or the crypto exchange. Now, CZ has actually come out in the past couple of hours with a tweet basically breaking down everything that has happened, what his plans are moving forward, and exactly who is going to be replacing him in his current position. So I'm going to be jumping into that in just a moment. Now, before I jump into that, though, I want to just kind of highlight some of these key pieces when it comes to these articles, and then just kind of give you guys my two thoughts as to what we're seeing in terms of potential attack on crypto at an extremely crucial time with an ETF on the rise, as well as the Bitcoin halving just a couple of months away. So Binance's founder, CZ, has reportedly agreed to step down as the CEO of his crypto exchange as the United States Department of Justice, or the DOJ, prepares to announce that it has secured 4.3 billion, right, in terms of a settlement with the company. Now, I know that there were some rumors swirling around that the SEC, or excuse me, that the DOJ was trying to basically extort CZ, and that they would not be wanting to settle unless, there was an easy way for them to get some cash. Now, the fact that CZ is in fact settling, I think, again, shows that he has done some things that were not necessarily correct. But I want to be clear here and draw the parallel that this is nothing like what we saw with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. Now, what they're alleging is that CZ broke anti-money laundering laws, basically allowing for US customers to interact with the platform when they should not have, as well as letting bad actors actually money launder or launder money utilizing the Binance exchange. Now, this varies greatly from what was alleged that Sam Bankman-Fried did, which was basically commingle users' funds, basically taking and utilizing users' funds in a way that was completely illegal. And he was also charged with actually manipulating the crypto market or the Bitcoin market. So two completely different types of allegations that I want to just kind of set the record straight with here when it comes to CZ stepping down and him pleading guilty to these charges. Now, that said, it doesn't look like CZ will be serving any jail time, and I want to jump into that here as a part of the article. So he was scheduled to appear, and he did appear in federal court on November 21st in Seattle, where he entered his plea deal. Now, the report also indicates that he will be pleading guilty again. That was confirmed, and he will be able to basically avoid jail time in exchange for, I believe, Binance paying a fee of $4.3 billion. Now, I believe that there's a personal settlement that CZ will be paying himself, which I believe is totaling around $50 million. Now, keep in mind that, we don't necessarily know CZ's worth. I believe that in 2021, Binance alone made profits of over $20 billion. So the fact that we're seeing them having to pay $4 billion back just alone, I think is only about 20% of the amount of profits or revenue that they made back in 2020 or 2021. So this is not necessarily a big hit for Binance, but of course, $4 billion is quite a big number, especially when you compare that to the $30 million that Kraken, the third largest exchange, was forced to settle with for providing staking as a service, which is actually kind of odd because, again, Binance also provides this kind of service, as well as Coinbase. Now, the last thing I want to read here states that although the deal would allow CZ to retain his majority stake in Binance, indicating that he won't likely face any jail time as a part of the plea bargain, he will not be allowed to hold an executive position at the company. Now, during the DOJ's official statements, which was actually posted on YouTube, we did hear that they will have a company moving forward, monitoring all of their operations, I believe for anywhere between 3 to 5 years, making sure that they have access to all the data that the Binance exchange is processing. So they're basically going to have somebody watching over them, or an overseer, to make sure that they are now going to be complying with a lot of these secrecy laws that apply to the US, as well as some of these anti-money laundering laws. Again, a lot of these were focused around KYC and not giving US users access to the overseas exchange. We eventually did see Binance open up a US specific arm, but there was also allegations that they were also not doing things by the books. So that is the biggest allegation here. Nothing again surrounding market manipulation or commingling of users' funds. Now, if we scroll down here, we do have a quick tweet by CZ. So I want to quickly jump into that here. And then I want to jump into some of the financials and just additional facts that we have surrounding these allegations, or I guess at this point, these facts. So again, I'm going to leave the link to this tweet down below. This is CZ basically breaking down everything that has happened. Of course, for the sake of time, I can't jump into all of that. I want to keep this video as brief and concise as possible. So I want to jump into some of the key pieces that I found to be informational. So one of them is here, which basically states, what is next for CZ? Well, first, he states that he's going to be taking a break. He's not been able to have a single day of real break or a phone off period for the last 6.5 years. So first and foremost, while he is pleading guilty to these charges, I do want to commend him. He has pushed the space forward quite heavily. And of course, being a founder of a multi-billion-dollar exchange is no small task or no small feat. So he does definitely deserve some of this time off. Whether or not he deserves to be in jail for these anti-money laundering issues, again, is a completely separate decision or a completely separate conversation. And I'll let you be the judge of that. Now, on that note, he does want to provide, again, some key facts surrounding his allegations, or at least the fact that he has now pleaded guilty to these charges. So number one, this does not allege that Binance misappropriated any user funds. And then number two, this does not allege that Binance engaged in any market manipulations. Last but not least, your funds are safe. So that, I think, was the biggest thing there. People were kind of speculating what kind of effect this would have on the bigger and broader crypto markets, which include Bitcoin. And then, of course, the BNB network and their BNB token, which is actually run directly by Binance. So that is their own network. And of course, since then, we have seen the price of Bitcoin somewhat drop. I know that early on, we saw the price kind of stay relatively stagnant after the news initially broke, but it seems to now, after 5 or 6 hours, that we're now starting to see some of the price kind of react to this recent news. So again, the biggest pieces here: no misappropriation and no market manipulation. Now, I'm going to jump into one last tweet here. Again, this states that CZ has agreed to a fine of $50 million, which will be credited against payments made to the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, or the CFTC, if paid by the sentencing date. Again, given the amount of profit and just the net worth that CZ has, I don't think that he's going to have any issues paying this beforehand, so we'll see about that. But that is the fine levied against him. Now, Binance will plead guilty, again, the company, and this is not just the US portion, this is just overall Binance. So the bigger piece will be pleading guilty to operating an unlicensed money transmitting business, violating the BSA, and conducting prohibited transactions with Iran. So one of the sanctioned countries that they should not have been doing business with. Now, Zhao, or CZ, has resigned as the CEO of Binance, and the company has barred him from future involvement in its operation for 3 years from the date of the monitoring, which is appointed. So CZ officially stepping down, no longer the CEO of Binance. Again, what does this mean for crypto? Number one, I think the timing is super suspect. Again, about a year ago is when we saw FTX implode. That had such a huge impact on the price of Bitcoin and just the broader crypto market. And as soon as we're now starting to get some sort of positive sentiment, not only does Kraken get sued by the SEC, we're then also seeing Binance being charged with some of these allegations, or again, at this point, now it's fact. So interesting timing to say the least, but what does this potentially mean for the other exchanges that are still operating? So I want to jump in here really quickly and take a look at some of these numbers here and then kind of give you guys my thoughts. So I personally think that this is a golden opportunity for Coinbase to get some major adoption as we're getting ready to get some sort of Bitcoin spot ETF or spot Bitcoin ETF in the early portion of January. This allows for Coinbase to basically get the majority of the cash that's going to be inflowing from some of these larger players, for example, like BlackRock. Now, moving forward, I do think that we are going to see more and more people going towards utilizing Coinbase as opposed to Binance. And I think that's just going to be just due to the fact that their name has now somewhat been tarnished by these charges. Now, when we look here at the actual size of Binance compared to Coinbase and Kraken, as well as Bybit and OKX, we have a total number of trading volume, in terms of dollars, currently sitting, I believe, at, let's see, that's 14 trillion, if I'm not, 14 billion, there. Now, right behind them at 2 billion, we've got Coinbase. And then at 1 billion, we've got Kraken. In terms of the amount of weekly visits, right, going towards Binance from end users, that's currently sitting at 11.8 million with 87,000, right, for Coinbase and then 1 million for Kraken. So actually really surprising numbers there. I would have expected that Coinbase would definitely get more active visits or weekly visits than Kraken, but that could potentially be up due to the fact that we just saw those allegations come out against Kraken. In terms of number of markets, we have Binance leading the way with a huge lead here with almost 1,500 different types of markets with over 392 coins, followed by Coinbase with 300 types of markets with 240 different coins. And then we've got Kraken with 767 markets with 241 coins. Now, if I jump over into this last document here, I just want to touch on the growth in the revenue as well as profit that Binance has made, which again, I think at this point really outshines the amount that they're paying in terms of the settlement fine or the settlement amount. Now, granted, 4 billion is still a huge amount for any regular person, but again, they're running a multi-billion and a global exchange reaching all ends of the world. So in terms of their revenue, in 2021, they were able to reach $20 billion compared to a quarter of that of only 5.5 billion a year before. Now, granted, 2020 was leading right into the bull market where we saw Bitcoin hit an all-time high of 69,000. So the fact that their revenue jumped up by 4x in 2021, again, to allow for them to make 20 billion is no surprise. Now, what was their actual revenue in 2022 and 2023? Those numbers are not available just yet, or at least I personally was not able to find those. But given what we have here, I would say that, anywhere between 5 to maybe 20 billion would be some sort of a valid guess. Now, in terms of their profit, we can see that in 2017, they were sitting at a total of 7.5 million in terms of profit. And then that jumped all the way up to 900 million. So nearly $1 billion in terms of their profit in 2020. Again, we don't have all the data spanning all into 2023, but I would assume that that has continued to increase and grow over time. In terms of users on the platform, all the way back in 2017, 1.5 million users. That then skyrocketed all the way to 28.6 million users in 2021. Again, their name has only grown since then, and I would assume that the numbers have either stayed around that same amount or grown since 2021. In terms of peak trading volume, again, we've got $1 billion here, 2017 all the way at 3 billion, and then all the way up to $76 billion in terms of trading volume at the peak of the bull run. So that will do it here for today's video. I wanted to just dive into the recent news here. Again, I think that we are set up to continue to rise higher. It is just really amazing to see the biggest exchange take such a blow such as this. So CZ, you will be missed. I think he's going to be out of the limelight moving forward. And I hope that the new CEO is ready for a lot of FUD, a lot of questions, and a lot of work moving forward. That said, let me know what you guys think down below. Was this a coordinated attack? What does this say that CZ is actually pleading guilty? And do you think that the $4 billion was a fair amount to be fined? That said, what do you think goes on for Coinbase, given the fact that they still have their allegations pinned against them in terms of them running an unregistered securities broker, dealer, and exchange? And I believe that moving forward, because CZ and Binance are settling, that there's going to be no additional charges coming in from the SEC. Lastly, I want to say that we didn't hear anything about CZ or Binance selling any securities during the DOJ talk. We didn't hear anything about stable coins or just anything else outside of these anti-money laundering issues. So I do think that moving forward, hopefully this dies down in terms of what we're seeing for the FUD for Binance, but I'm wondering what now happens to Kraken and Coinbase, which both still have pending lawsuits coming in from Gary Gensler and the SEC. Again, if you guys enjoyed today's video, trying to keep you guys posted and updated surrounding the latest news going on within the broader crypto space, I would appreciate you if you could tap that like button. Not only does it help to get this content out to other members within this growing Cardano community, it also helps to get this out to the broader blockchain community, as well as let the algorithm know that I'm doing a great job. Now, if you guys enjoy videos like this and it's your first time stopping by Dapp Central, consider subscribing for more content. And last but not least, if you have any questions or comments, then please make sure to go ahead and leave those down below. That said, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.